Hi guys, Dario here, and today we're going to talk about my gaming peripheral setup for 2022. And this is something that I decided to do since I wanted to show you my productivity setup, as you already seen, and you can check that video out in the description below. But then again, there's also a gaming segment that I also enjoy, and I have some preferences that I usually go with. Now, a couple of years back, I started in diversifying productivity from gaming, basically trying to have mechanical switches for gaming, mouse that actually has nice feet for gliding and for fast reactions, and I wanted to go with even lighter setup in terms of a mouse. Now there's also a headset option, but that will leave it out for today, since last time in productivity I was only talking about mouse and the keyboard, and today we're going to do the same. Now here we have the Logitech G915 TKL, and before you say or comment below that there are better options in terms of a custom keyboard, I do agree, but I really do prefer these ones in terms of basically everything. And first of all, time of building, that's definitely something that comes into play, and of course the price difference from a custom keyboard to an already pre-built. That doesn't collide to my custom builds, but then again, it's something that I have to sacrifice. So I started with I think it was 213 Prodigy, if I'm not mistaken, but that was really long time ago. And after that was a TKL version G410 Atlas Spectrum. Now, as you can see, I already switched to a TKL version, and I was gaming on that one because when the G915 came out, I'm betting that Logitech will release the same version but in TKL version, of course. And here we go. I started with a clicky, so the Kailh white switches, and for 2022 I decided actually to switch to linear Kailh red switches, because first of all, the clicky ones have a slight bump that is just in the middle, and these ones actually go directly through and you don't have that bump. Now it will be tricky for me switching from the clicky ones to the linear ones, just because the bump actually gives you an let's say an awareness that the key is already actuated and that you're already moving towards your enemy or whatever you decided to do, press or whatever. And these ones actually don't have that bump part, that certain indication that the button is actually actualized on your PC. But then again, it's a nice low profile keyboard with low profile switches and low profile keycaps. Nice distance between the keycaps on top, even though they're ABS plastic, and it's really shame that they didn't place some PBT or at least matte black keycaps, so you won't get any stains on it. But then again, I really love the additional buttons on top, so you have light speed and you have Bluetooth, you have a gaming mode and possibility to adjust the brightness of the lights. Now, when gaming, of course, and I usually, if I get killed too early in the match, I usually just go into Windows and do stuff that I could do while others game, my teammates game, I could work, so just switching off and on game mode gives me a possibility to easily switch between Windows and activating or deactivating gaming mode. At the right side you have 4 additional buttons which are basically based for multimedia. Now these ones I actually don't use, and even they are really practical and really nicely placed. They could be used but not in my scenario. And the one thing that I really do prefer is the volume wheel. That really does help while gaming, because sometimes if I switch my PC quickly for, I don't know, rebuilding my older PC to something new or something else, and I use some temporary PC, I enter the game and then everything is, the headset has a different sound from the game and it has a different sound from Discord, and then I have to switch everything completely, go to volume mixer and adjust, and then finally to adjust the volume on the go here on the scroll wheel, which is quite nice. Now all the buttons are quite nicely adjusted, you don't have any problems basically, even typing. I was using G915 TKL clicky one for actually when I was editing and working and stuff like that, even before I decided to go with Logitech Craft, or after that MX Keys Mini. But I would say that this keyboard is quite nice for gaming. First, low profile switches and keycaps, which actually, if you're used to having a keyboard run flat on the table, It's quite alright. At the back you have a possibility, of course, to adjust the height on 4 and 8 degrees. You have a charging port here at the back, which I do have to admit I would really prefer if it was Type-C, because then everything in my setup would be connected to a Type-C. I would have one cable running at the back and just charging everything that I need directly through that cable when the battery runs out. So yeah, but then again, it's a quite cool combination and I really do love this keyboard. Now, what's else here to mention that really makes this keyboard pop? Now, it has an aluminum alloy top case, which doesn't continue at the back, but it still gives a nice weight to the keyboard, giving it more sense of quality, and definitely no flex to it. And yeah, at the back, I mean, you have a plastic backside, but you do have loads of rubber feet that keep the keyboard steady to your table or your desk mat. Now, that's really cool. And I would say that I'm quite used to it. That's a completely different story. I'm quite used to it, and this is why this G915 TKL works perfectly for me. Of course, Logitech G Hub, you can adjust loads of things, and the RGB is just remarkable. It really does shine out quite nicely, even though it's not that bright on the side, so you don't get any side effects of the lightning going around the keycaps. But on the keys, it's actually so nice, bright. Even with the soft boxes on, I could clearly see the RGB. Well, now it's not synchronized, so it's going into rainbow, but usually, as you noticed, I go with orange, or if I could manage a gold. That's impossible, but still. Then again, we have a mouse. Now, mouse is a completely different story, because I had loads of mice going through that period of years. I had Logitech G300S, then I think it was some other gaming mouse in between, then G900, G903, which were a bit heavier than G300, and then G303 Shroud Edition came out, and I have to say, I have no complaints about that mouse. That mouse is really outstanding. If you're used to the old, I heard loads of people were complaining about the differences in dimensions, but I really love that mouse, especially with the gliding and the PTFE feet that run perfectly on this desk mat. It's just outstanding. And for 2022, I decided to actually switch quite early, because even though I really love the G303, I'm going to switch to an older mouse, and it's going to be a Logitech G Pro X Superlight, which also has PTFE feet, has a hero sensor, 2 additional side buttons. It has a really nice scroll wheel in terms of movements, and left and right click, which are quite outstanding. Now listen to this. It does have a slight hollow sound, but I would say, because comparing it to the G303, it's a bit longer. It's almost a bit wider, even though the G303 has a bit of a different design when we're talking about looking at from the top. And the bottom part that goes where you actually connect the USB Type-C, well, the keys, the top left and right key, are actually completely differently designed. Since because I used for 3 years G900 and G903, I think that Superlight will most likely give me more advantage, just because of my I would say usage through those years with G900, and I'll definitely get used to it more easily than I was on G303. But I do have to admit, each time I'm using a completely new peripheral for my gaming setup, it's just giving me some sort of an advantage, because it's new, I'm not used to it, and I'm always experimenting. And when I get used to it, then the worst thing happens. I started to play even worse and worse, but that's most likely in me and not in the peripherals. Now, the same thing as G303 Shroud Edition, we have the G Pro X Superlight, which doesn't have any RGB, gives a longer lasting battery, and that's the really cool thing. Now, as I already said, you can connect it with Lightspeed. It has a hero optical sensor. You can also connect it with PowerPlay and use it on that one. It's lower than 63 grams when we're talking about the weight. Zero filtering, zero smoothing, zero acceleration, and zero adaptive PTFE feet, which definitely brings really nice let's say movements and usage on the table. Now, since 303 is not the story for 2022, now there's also a fact where some of you might ask yourself and me in the comments why I'm constantly using Logitech products in productivity and in gaming. why didn't I go with a custom mouse, or why didn't I go with a custom keyboard or anything similar to that. For productivity, you might understand, because that's best of the best, and you can't say anything against the MX Master 3 or even MX Keys Mini. But for Logitech G915 TKL, I know everybody will find their other solution that they prefer, or for the mouse, some other even lighter mice or whatever. But for me is I stick to reliability and durability, and I'm already using personally and with my personal money buying these products because I have peripherals from Logitech that are over 15 years old and they're still working. So imagine me actually buying these products without even a thought of second, because I know what I'm buying. It's a complete quality and durability product that will definitely work without any hiccups. I mean, some of you might have some, but that's most likely 1 in 100, which you can always swap it for warranty or do whatever, because Logitech support is really outstanding. I think I didn't even use it. So I heard from you guys, some of you guys that actually had some minor issues, but those were actually just standard mistakes that you could find on any other peripheral brand. But taking globally everything into consideration, what I encountered with Logitech products is complete and just amazing quality, which I use constantly in every day. And believe me, the amount of time that I'm using peripherals during my complete day of work, because not just PC crazy, there's also other work that I do. Some other products might break or would be broken already. Gaming, productivity, whatever. When we're talking about Logitech, and I'm not saying this because I'm a big fan of Logitech products, but taking into consideration what I encountered throughout the years, it's really an outstanding combination that you could find interesting. What to say? Switching from clicky to linear, switching to G903, G303, and now back to Superlight. I think that's going to be quite an outstanding combination. And yeah, I wanted to share this with you guys because I got some comments and other questions even on my private messages on Instagram about my gaming setup peripheral wise, and this is it. G915 TKL from Logitech with linear switches for 2022 and G Pro X Superlight. That's it. The cool thing about everything, and I'm saying this with 100% testing throughout the years, light speed. From the minute it was announced and from the minute I actually started using it, I never had a problem with connectivity. It just works perfectly fine. Okay, you have two separated USB sticks that you use for they're not nano receivers, but you have one for G915 TKL and you have one for Pro X. They don't collide when it comes to interference. When we're talking about connectivity, it works perfectly. You don't have any latency, you don't have any lag. The mouse works without a single issue or something that you might be worried about, movements that might interact with, I don't know, keyboard and just lose total connectivity. That won't happen because light speed was actually what they stated when they announced it. It was a couple of years in development, so that makes total sense. And yeah, just be sure to have an extra USB port available for your keyboard and for your mouse to connect both USBs. That's it. So guys, thank you for watching today's video. I hope you enjoyed and I hope you got more insight into my gaming peripheral setup. Don't forget to check out the links below for the Logitech G915 TKL version. I'll place the link for clicky version as well if you prefer more that one instead of the linear one. It's all up to you, of course, and up to personal preferences. I won't go into that. It's just what everybody likes, and that's that. And of course, I'll place the link for the Logitech G Pro X Superlight if you decide to go with this mouse, which is under 63 grams PTFE feet. Possibility to use it on the PowerPlay mouse pad, and quite outstanding shape actually, quite nice design, nice dimensions, just all around great gaming mouse. Links are below. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any future content, because after all there will be. And before I go, guys, write in the comment section what is your favorite combo when it comes to keyboard and mice. well, mouse. And I really like to see what combination are you running. Are you sticking with one brand? Are you switching, I don't know, different mouse, different keyboard? Are you going with custom keyboards or anything similar to that? I really want to find out, so leave the comments below and see you next time, guys. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.